and welcome everyone. Today we are learning an essential part in German grammar, personal pronouns, or in German, Personalpronomen. Pronouns are super important because they help us replace names in sentences and make our speech sound more natural. Instead of saying Anna is a student, Anna lives in Berlin, Anna speaks German, we can simply say Anna is a student, she lives in Berlin, she speaks German. Sounds easier, right? So, let's dive in and learn how pronouns work in German. So, before we start, first let's understand what pronouns are. Pronouns replace nouns in a sentence to avoid repetition and make language sound natural. In German, the form of a pronoun changes depending on how it is used in a sentence. This is called case or Fall in German. There are 4 Fälle or 4 cases in German. The first one is the nominative, second is accusative, third one is dative, and the fourth is genitive. We will study about all these cases in detail in a separate video. But for now, we are only going to focus on the nominative case, which is the simplest and most important when learning pronouns. In German, the nominative case is used for the subject of a sentence, the person or thing performing the action. Now, let's look at the personal pronouns in the nominative case. The first pronoun is ich. Once again, ich, which means I. The second pronoun is du. Once again, du, which means you. This you is used in the informal sense. The third pronoun is er. Once again, er, which means he. The fourth pronoun is sie. Once again, sie, which means she. The fifth one is es. Once again, es, which means it. The sixth one is wir. Once again, wir, which means we. The seventh one is ihr, which means you all. Repeat it once again, ihr, which means you all. The eighth one is sie. Once again, sie, which means they. The ninth one is sie. Once again, sie, which means you. This you is used in the formal sense. Now, you would have noticed one thing, that we use the word sie 3 times in this table. Hence, the word sie has 3 different meanings. And what are those meanings? The first one is she. The second one is they. And the third one is you in the formal sense. And whenever the word sie means you, then it starts with a capital letter. This is also shown in the table. On the basis of who is speaking, who is spoken to, and who is spoken about, pronouns are classified into first person, second person, and third person. Now let's take a closer look at each one of them. First person is the person speaking. Examples, I and we. Second person is the person spoken to. Example is you. Third person is the person who we are talking about. Example is he, she, it, they. Pronouns in German can be singular or plural, depending on whether you're talking about one person or thing or more than one. Let's take a closer look at how they change. There can be a singular and a plural form of the pronouns of all the persons. So, let's start with the first person. As mentioned, there can be a singular and a plural form. Ich is the singular form and wir is the plural form. In the case of the second person, du is the singular form and ihr is the plural form. And in the case of third person, er, sie and es are the singular form and sie, which means they, is the plural form. Let's start with the pronoun ich. Example number 1. Ich bin Max. Once again, ich bin Max, which means I am Max. Example number 2. Ich bin glücklich. Once again, ich bin glücklich, which means I am happy. Example number 3. Ich spreche Englisch. Once again, ich spreche Englisch, which means I speak English. Example number 4. Ich trinke Tee. Once again, ich trinke Tee, which means I drink tea. Example number 5. Ich wohne hier. Once again, ich wohne hier, which means I live here. Now let's jump to the next pronoun, which is wir. The first example is wir sind Freunde. Once again, wir sind Freunde, which means we are friends. The example number 2 is wir lernen zusammen. Once again, wir lernen zusammen, which means we learn together. Example number 3. Wir gehen ins Kino. Once again, wir gehen ins Kino, which means we are going to the cinema. Example number 4. Wir spielen Fußball. Once again, wir spielen Fußball, which means we play soccer or football. Example number 5. Wir essen Pizza. Once again, wir essen Pizza, which means we eat pizza. Now let's quickly move to the next pronoun, which is er. Example number 1. Er ist Lehrer. Once again, er ist Lehrer, which means he is a teacher. Example number 2. Er spielt Gitarre. Once again, er spielt Gitarre, which means he plays guitar. Example number 3. Er liest ein Buch. Once again, er liest ein Buch, which means he reads a book. Example number 4. Er wohnt in Hamburg. Once again, er wohnt in Hamburg, which means he lives in Hamburg. Example number 5. Er geht zur Schule. Once again, er geht zur Schule, which means he goes to school. The next pronoun is sie. Here the word sie means she. Example number 1. Sie liest ein Buch. Once again, sie liest ein Buch, which means she reads a book. Example number 2. Sie ist Ärztin. Once again, sie ist Ärztin, which means she is a doctor. And here, this Ärztin means a female doctor. Example number 3. Sie geht spazieren. Once again, sie geht spazieren, which means she goes for a walk. Example number 4. Sie kocht gut. Once again, sie kocht gut, which means she cooks well. Example number 5. Sie hat eine Katze. Once again, sie hat eine Katze, which means she has a cat. Now let's go to the next pronoun, which is es. Es means it. Example number 1. Es regnet. Once again, es regnet, which means it is raining. Example number 2. Es ist kalt. Once again, es ist kalt, which means it is cold. Example number 3. Es gibt viele Bäume hier. Once again, es gibt viele Bäume hier, which means there are many trees here. Example number 4. Es tut mir leid. Once again, es tut mir leid, which means I am sorry. Example number 5. Es ist Montag. Once again, es ist Montag, which means it is Monday. Example number 6. Es schmeckt gut. Once again, es schmeckt gut. That means it tastes good. Example number 7. Es ist wichtig. Once again, es ist wichtig, which means it is important. Next pronoun is ihr. which means you all. Example number 1. Ihr geht nach Hause. Once again, ihr geht nach Hause, which means you all are going home. Example number 2. Habt ihr Hunger? Once again, habt ihr Hunger, which means are you all hungry? Example number 3. Ihr seid lustig. Once again, ihr seid lustig, which means you all are funny. Example number 4. Könnt ihr schwimmen? Once again, könnt ihr schwimmen, which means can you all swim? Example number 5. Ihr spielt gut. Once again, ihr spielt gut, which means you all play well or you all play good. Now let's quickly move to the next pronoun, which is sie. Here the word sie means they. Example number 1. Sie kommen aus Italien. Once again, sie kommen aus Italien, which means they come from Italy. Example number 2. Sie spielen im Garten. Once again, sie spielen im Garten, which means they play in the garden. Example number 3. Sie lernen für die Prüfung. Once again, sie lernen für die Prüfung, which means they are studying for the exam. Example number 4. Sie haben ein neues Auto. Once again, sie haben ein neues Auto, which means they have a new car. Example number 5. Sie essen im Restaurant. Once again, sie essen im Restaurant, which means they are eating in the restaurant. Now let's quickly move to the next pronoun, which is sie. And here the word sie means you in the formal sense. Example number 1. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Once again, sprechen Sie Deutsch, which means do you speak German? Example number 2. Können Sie mir helfen? Once again, können Sie mir helfen, which means can you help me? Example number 3. Woher kommen Sie? Once again, woher kommen Sie, which means where are you from? Example number 4. Wie heißen Sie? Once again, wie heißen Sie, which means what is your name? Example number 5. Haben Sie Zeit? Once again, haben Sie Zeit, which means do you have time? Before we finish, let's take one last look at all the German personal pronouns we have learned today in a simple table. We have 3 types of pronouns on the basis of person. The first one is first person, second person, and then we have the third person. On the basis of number, we have singular and plural. For the first person, ich is the singular pronoun and wir is the plural one. For second person, du and sie are the singular pronouns and ihr and sie in the formal sense is the plural pronoun and ihr is the plural pronoun. In the third person, er, sie and es are the singular pronouns and sie is the plural pronoun. Here the word sie means they. Now it's time to test what we have learned. Let's do a quick quiz to see how well you remember German personal pronouns. Try to fill in the blanks before I reveal the answers. Question number 1, or in German, Frage 1. Seid meine Nachbarn. Here's a quick tip how you can solve this question. See the translation that is written just next to the sentence. You are my neighbors. Now you just need to tell me what is you in German. And you also need to check that whether it's singular or plural. Yes, you're right. The answer is ihr. Now let's move to the question number 2, or Frage 2. Ist kalt heute? Now see the translation and check whether it's plural or it's singular. Ist es? Question number 3, or Frage 3. Sind Studenten? Check the translation and give the answer. Great, the answer is wir. Question number 4, or Frage 4. Sprechen Deutsch? see the translation and give the answer. Great job! The answer is wie. Next, we have question number 5 or Frage 5. Dash sind sehr nett. Check the translation and give the answer. And remember one thing here, that the you is in the formal sense. Great job! The answer is Sie. Great job! Now you have a solid understanding of German personal pronouns and how to use them in sentences. Keep practicing by creating your own sentences with ich, du, er, sie, es, wir, ihr, sie. The more you use them, the easier they will become. Danke fürs Zuschauen. I'll see you next time in the next lesson. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss. Bye bye.